Kia ora everyone, ko Georgina Tokuingoa. I'm the Science Engagement Manager at NeSI, and I'll jump in until Nick's back and audio is back in. So as Nisha said, we want to take you through, you're here today because we're migrating to our fabulous new services. Welcome, and I hope you get excited with us over the next few minutes. And one of the key things just to acknowledge here is it's not just new things, but there are new places. And this does add to the whole experience. So we've had our platforms situated in Te Whanganui, Tara, Wellington, at NeSI's data centre, which is coming to the end of its life. So we have not only have we got new things arriving into the Tamaki data centre, but we're moving some of our older kit there as well. And yeah, just we want to make sure that you guys get the takeaways from this. So the key thing while you're here is we are migrating over to the new platforms now. And this is going to be happening. We're all moving in this month and next month. And just to be really explicit, so what this means is that the new parts of the Mahuika platform are coming online, and 50% of the old Mahuika platform, so our Milan nodes, the newer parts of that will be migrated up to join it. And we'll be saying farewell, thank you and farewell to Maui and the original sort of parts of Mahuika as well. They're aging out, they're off to retirement. So what that means for you guys is that as you're migrated into this new space, that you need to understand what that experience is going to look like. So over the next little while, there'll be rapid iterations as we optimize the platform. So we will be running at things fast, and we'll talk you through what that all looks like in the next few slides, but we want to call that out and just acknowledge it. So it's things may change as we go through. There will be contention during this period. So things are coming online, things are being retired, things are being migrated. So that capacity will get lumpy, and that means that your experience will get a bit lumpy in those few weeks. We need you to know that you have a role to play in this. We need your active management and engagement in that data synchronization. So we'll talk through that a bit more. You have had some notifications about that, but we all know what inboxes look like. So we'll take you through that. And you will need to update job scripts and software to get the best out of the new platform. So if you sign off now, this is what you need to take away from this session. Now, there's a natural pause here. Have we got Nick on the line? See?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, you're stuck with me. Sorry, folks. Enjoy the ride. So we wanted to give you an update on where we've got to. Now, this is a graphic you may have seen. We've been using this to just show some of the phases of work and where we've been up to. And so we'll take you through where we're up to. Last time you saw it, there was a nice big hazy grey box over a lot of things. We'd got the data center ready. We were now migrating data. We were getting on-demand up and running. And we're very proud to say, with a huge amount of work from the team, that we have now progressed that. And that big, nice pink arrow there means that next week, we're moving into that early access phase for the new compute. And I wish I had trumpets and fanfare with that, because I really must labour that has been a huge amount of work from the team. So, well, thanks, Wes. Well done. Thank you. And it continues to be a good amount of work. All right. So this is just to acknowledge those boxes of progress. So we did need to do a lot of work around preparing the data center to receive that hardware. everyone loves a data center shot. So that was largely done last year, but important to recognize. Now, one of the changes and the evolutions of our service as part of this migration is we're moving to a new interactive compute mechanism or service. So we're using on demand for this. And this gives us the option to really build out quite a rich catalog of interactive apps and tools. And it will replace the Jupyter service. So we won't dig into it too much, but to say that the early access for that on demand is open and has been for quite some time. And we've got researchers using that regularly now for those that it suits at the moment. In the pipeline, we need to get that on demand connected with the new file system and that data synced up. And that is a real time happening right now thing. So that will be a huge piece of progress. We've got VS Code Server and virtual desktop apps on the way as well. And then, of course, we'll keep on iterating on that to improve and add to it over time. A next big sort of part of the service is the shared HPC storage. So this is another area which we're modernizing. We're moving from the sort of classic HPC storage platform, IBM's GPFS, which we've used for a long time. And we're going to move over to a solution which is called Weka. And this should help us with things like flexibility and sort of scalability. It's a really secure service, and many of our similar platforms, our colleagues overseas are leveraging this. So we're really excited to move into that world. Another change is we have retired Nearline. Not sure if I see anyone crying or your data is all, yeah, Klaus, I see, it's okay, your data's there. But when you access it next, it will be via the new service, which is Freezer. So this is our long-term storage solution. So it's tape-backed. It's compatible with common cloud tools like AWS S3, and it's a lot more scalable, and we're expecting a lot more sort of easy to use sort of service. So that one is well underway as well. So where are we up to with these storage services? The big thing is the data migrations for these, and they're well underway. So as of this week, another congrats to the team, all home, project, and user specified no backup data is now on the new system. So it's ready and waiting, and it's being updated through an async process regularly. So I think within 24 hours, your data's being pulled across at the moment. So that's all ready, which is very exciting. For Nearline, about half the data, half the project's data has been migrated, and it is ready for access via that new Freezer service from, I think we were saying, early access 19th of May. We're starting to put some real dates in. It's very confident of us. And some remaining data still migrating. So you can imagine that's a huge pool of data, given that it's that long-term, slower storage. Right. The big thing and sort of the big impactful thing here is our new HPC. So this is where we're refreshing our technology, we're upgrading, and it gives us all these glorious words like faster and more powerful and scalable. So we're really excited to bring that new hardware online through the compute, the cluster service. Alongside CPUs are the GPUs as well, and we're pretty excited to really sort of build out the richness of the GPUs available to you guys. So we'll continue to have our A100s, but we will now have H100s and L4s. And the team can, if that's something you're interested in, reach out and we can sort of talk through how they will, the different GPU types can support your work. But you want to know where we're up to? Starting next week, as I hinted before, early access users will be able to access the system. We have got a few names in mind and we have reached out to a few people, but if this is of interest to you, be bold, flick us an email, a ticket into support, and we'll work with you. If the platform is ready for your type of work, then we can support you to get across and have a go. The main thing to acknowledge here is that in that next week, like that really early phase, you'll be helping us identify issues. It really is an early phase stage. So we'll look for feedback on things like the onboarding and logging in. It's an opportunity for you to check your data's all there, but also, feedback on submitting jobs. Is the software and hardware working for you? And really give us that crucial early feedback to hone that service for the wave of your colleagues who will come the following week. Now, I do see Blair here. So I might sorry, Blair, you haven't got lunch going right now. I'll hand over to you just for this slide to celebrate Genoa.
Yeah, thanks, George, and kia ora, everyone. Great to see so many people on the call. This is a very early look at performance for a particular little micro benchmark. One of the things to note with the new hardware is just the sheer number of processing cores available in each node. So things like OpenMP codes, which this is an example of, can scale up much more within a single node. And this example here also sort of shows what kind of naive performance improvements we get with the new hardware as well, the new CPUs. This is a code that hasn't been optimized for the new Genoa CPUs, yet still gets quite an impressive speed up. And we expect, this is something that we will continue to work on and learn more about as we work with more and more applications on Genoa. So it's usually something that we see improvement in over the first year or two of the operational life of new HPC gear.
Awesome. I'll hand this one to you as well, Blair.
So I think we sort of just wanted to call out here that this new platform is really closely integrated with our Research Developer Cloud service. So there's an underlying common layer of infrastructure there. They're in the same data center, they're on the same networks, and indeed our services that you might be using or sort of seeing, experiencing as part of the high performance computing environment, some of those things are running on the Research Developer Cloud infrastructure. And so that opens up some new opportunities for us in terms of how we can integrate and bring some more cloud native platforms into the environment as well. So that's something we're excited to get into exploring more as we look at bringing things like virtual labs across into this environment as well.
Thank you. All right, now is when you get out your notebooks or your digital notepad, and we're going to get into a few more of the details for the migration, so that the next sort of couple of months. Right, new HPC3 services. So this is our largely the Genoa nodes, all up and running in Tamaki data center. Next week, early access testing. And the following week, everyone can get on board. So users with existing allocations will be invited to begin using from sort of something like 10 days, a couple of weeks. And we're really excited about that. So I'm glad to see lots of you here to get the updates. Another key thing just to flag, and we'll flag it in various forms, but all your required data does need to be migrated off the old platforms by June 30th. So we'll talk a little bit more about how we've already done a lot of that for you and what you need to do to make that work. But we do want to emphasize that, and you'll hear that repeated a few times in this session. So forgive us for that. One of the big things that we need to acknowledge is that we will be having different nodes in different places over the next period of time. I've got a bit of a timeline up the top there that we'll run you through, but we know that this will mean that at times there will be contention, capacity will fluctuate, and that means there may well be longer queue wait times and slower throughput of work during this time. Now, it will depend. You might also have quicker wait times if you get across to the new kit and no one's over there yet. So it really is, we just need to acknowledge it will be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of wait times in the next little while. And that across the top, we're sort of talking, we've got some specific dates in there that we're running at, but it does sort of highlight why those fluctuations are happening. So the week of May 12th, we're opening it up to everyone. And then end of that week, we are turning off half of Mahuika. So that's the newer portion, the Milan nodes. So about 50% of Mahuika will be switched off, and that will be shipped up to our data center in Auckland, and then we hope to have that back online sort of mid-June. But so we get new Genoa in, but Milan, new HPC3 in, and the old Mahuika stuff will start to be migrated. Another key date here to acknowledge is May 23rd. I think that's a Friday, so sort of end of that week, we're looking to turn off or retire Maui from NeSI services. I don't know which date specifically it will be turned off, but that's the date that it will retire from NeSI services. And so we really need Maui users to be getting across and trying those Genoa nodes as early as possible. Many of you we've been working with to prepare you in terms of ensuring that they work on Milan, which is a closer architecture, but we're ready and willing to help make sure that we can get you across in that time frame. And then sort of around mid-June, we start to not have specific dates at this point, but the new HPC platform should be fully up and running at full capacity, and we'll have that Milan or the newer Mahuika capacity back online. And at that point, we say au revoir to Mahuika, the older part of Mahuika as well. So just to emphasize here, we do acknowledge that means there'll be times when queue times are long, work will take longer to get through. And we also want to call out that if you are looking for specific node types, if you have a particular GPU you need, a particular high memory node, for example, these are going to be moving about. So you're going to have to work with us. We'll try and communicate really clearly which kit when. But if you've got any concerns around that, please just reach out in a support ticket and we'll work with you so that you can understand what that will look like. And as always, we've got our, these dates are subject to change. That we are running at them. They're our goal, and we'll do our best to get there. But if they do shift, then please check your emails and have a look at things like status pages and our documentation, our usual support documentation, so that you can get the latest updates. Okay. One other very specific sort of impact that we are aware of and working towards is a short outage. So through the course of this, we are trying to make sure that there's service continuity, but we need to move our My NeSI user and project information from Wellington to Auckland, basically. And that shift requires an outage. It will impact users who do interactive things, so on demand or Jupyter. It will impact being able to log in to the new HPC. It's not going to touch the old stuff though. So if you're still on Mahuika and Maui, there's no impact to you. If you've already moved across to the new system, your jobs won't be affected, but you won't be able to log in for that period of time. We've said it's 19th, 20th. It will be kicked off the morning of May 19th, and it may well be done quickly, but we're making sure that you're aware that there could be an impact for up to a couple of days because we need to get that right. This is the outage that we know about, the only one at the moment. But as we've sort of signaled, we're moving fast with this. So we will let you know if different aspects of the service need an outage to update something or fix something as we get going. And we have moved to an as-code approach for provisioning all of these services. So over time, we hope that you won't feel those updates as directly. They'll be happening continuously in the background. So that's been part of the big change and a big piece of work for the team that's behind the scenes, but should make it a smoother experience for you guys. All right, another thing to consider for migration is just, so many of you will be our existing users, and you will have your existing projects and allocations and use your colleagues already in your projects. But through this change, what we're going to do is essentially we don't want new projects starting on the old equipment from the date we've put as May 8th, so next Thursday. And that kind of makes sense, right? You don't want to have a new thing starting and be migrated a week later or something. So from next Thursday, we won't be taking new projects and allocations on the old systems. So if you put in a new application, that's all good. You can do that, but you will be provided with an allocation on the new systems, which will go live. We're expecting June 1st. That lines up with the sort of quarterly allocation calls as well. All right, now we're going to go back to data migration. So we have, I think I said this already, we've already migrated your project and home directories, but we are not by default migrating no backup. So this is because no backup is transient, it's huge. And so what we have offered is if you do need your some files in your no backup migrated, then you can override this default by following those instructions there. So there's a rsync filter file name you can drop things into. There's instructions there. Maybe someone can drop the link in the chat for how to do that if you haven't already. But essentially that if you've got very specific files and no backup that you do need brought onto the new platform, then you need to do that. Now, the earlier you do that, the better, because we know there's some huge data in there. So if you come to us June 30 and say, actually, I need it all across, that just might not be possible. So we really need you guys to engage with that. If you haven't already, engage with that right now. And if you've got any questions, as always, if it's tricky, you can't quite work out how to do it, or you're not confident you've done it right, please just reach out, come to our office hours if you want to talk to a human, or put in a ticket. Okay, now our goal through this, we sort of talked a bit earlier about how we wanted to, there's some cool new things with this. But generally for the services that are more about transitioning over or migrating over, we've looked to maintain the user experience, keep, changes to a minimum. But there are changes, that's the nature of these things. So I'm going to, at a very high level, go through some of the things that are the same and some of the things that have changed. And then we will dig into details, and when the time is right, in a couple of weeks when you're actually starting to get used to it, we will take you through it then more specifically. But what's the same? So file system structure will all be the same, even if the file system underneath is different. Your allocations, those existing allocations and storage quotas will be carried over. They may be tweaked slightly to acknowledge the different performance on the systems, but you don't need to think about that. They will come across. We'll have the same software stack available to you. We're still using Slurm, and we still have our glorious support team ready and waiting to help you through all those usual mechanisms. So that hasn't changed. They're so keen to see this go smoothly for you. So do work with them through all of this. All right, what has changed? We have adjusted the login process. That word's simpler at the front there. That's always a loaded one. There's fewer steps, things are different, and we'll take you through the specifics of that through the documentation in a couple of weeks. As I've called out, the file system technology underneath is changing. You will need to change, there's new kit, so there's new partitions and things. So scripts will need to be updated, and you might need to adjust compilers and that sort of stuff. Now, once again, I keep saying it, pop in a ticket if you need help with any of these things. And as we called out earlier, Jupyter is, you will still have Jupyter, but it will be in on demand and a richer sort of, over time, it will become a richer service of that interactive compute. And you will have, I'll share a link eventually, but we're going to do the same again in a couple of weeks. You won't have to listen to me. You'll be listening to someone from the support team or from the technical side of the organization, and they will be taking everyone through the nitty-gritty details. So schedule that in. As always, those things are recorded. So if you can't make that time, come to office hours or watch the recording. We do want to bring your attention to this page. It sounds a bit negative, but really what we're acknowledging here is this is going to be a new platform. We're doing our best for it to be perfect, but just as we get to perfection, there will be a few things that we know about that we need to fix. And so we're already using it for our internal testing right now. So if you go to that link now, you'll see a big list of known issues and things that are missing. This is being updated. It's changed since this morning. So it's a real-time set of improvements. But what we want to call out is that, if you're having an issue with something, this is a good place to go to first, and we might be able to say, oh, this bit's missing, or this is a bug, we're working on it, or it might be missing from there, and please log a ticket, because we need to and want to get things working smoothly for you. This information you all know and love. So office hours. Actually, what we are going to do with our office hours over the next few weeks is increase them. So usually it's once a week. As if we have more tickets, maybe we won't. Maybe it will all be very, very straightforward. But if we do have more tickets, we'll start to load in more office hours, and you'll be able to see the times in the usual place. And we encourage you to come in and ask questions, and we can pop you in breakout rooms with support team to nut out any particular issues. So we're really encouraging people to use those office hours to deal with any issues. Obviously, tickets, please put them in. It's the process that we all know and love. We have our documentation as well. And then, as I called out, we will be running another one of these in a couple of weeks where we're going to deep dive more into what you need to know for running jobs, what you need to change in your script, all the details. Right, because we didn't want you to go away overwhelmed, here I'll be taking you back to the basics. You will be migrated in the next 2 months. We've got new hardware coming online. We've got old hardware being moved to sit alongside the new stuff, and we have some old stuff being retired. So this means that capacity will change, and therefore your queue time, your wait times will change and fluctuate, some good, some bad, over the next little while. We will be doing rapid iterations and fixes and improvements of the system. So if you've got a bug one day, it might be fixed the next. So please hang with us through that as we really quickly try and improve the system and have it ready for your research. You do need to engage with that data synchronization. So if all you want is your home and project directories, when you get started on the new system, you can go and check that everything's there, but it should all be done for you. If you want anything from no backup, you need to do something. You need to do that piece of work to flag what it is. The sooner you do that, the more likely it will come across. And there is a risk that if it's done too close to June 13th, we won't be able to migrate that. So please, we're really emphasizing we need you to engage with that no backup if you've got things in there you need. Okay, I'm sure there's lots we've missed, but now it's over to you and questions. So I'm actually going to hand back to Nisha. Thanks everyone for hanging in there through that, and look forward to the Q&A.